Because if that's what they're looking for, if they're like, yeah, I'm not that bothered, all I want is just someone to just look after my LinkedIn. I don't believe it's going to generate any leads. I just want something on there so it looks like we exist. Then I'll just be like, you don't need us. Just
so if you're like an agency that's like here's £100 a month, that's all I want to spend, do my marketing for me, that they're the sort of people that you point towards the AI tool.
And they exist. Like you do get those people who are like, what's your budget for £500 a month? And we want to post to all these different channels, just like use AI. But the downside, because it is good. It is very good, and it's probably better than what a lot of people could come up with on their own, just because time allowing and all of that. What you do notice though, once you start using it, you start to see who's using tools like that. You start to tune in to like the tone of voice,
the
almost
little nuances, and you're like, oh, that's very AI.
Yeah, and then you sort of quickly fall out with love with it again, because you realise, well, what am I even doing? I'm just churning out, and it's difficult to have an original.
But you're a professional in your field, so it's your job to identify these things, right?
Yeah.
You're not the audience.
No.
You're not that targeted audience. The targeted audience is the reader or the receiver of that message.
Yeah.
Who, if that person isn't looking at that going, that's very AI generated, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
It is our job to point out these things and to notice that, oh, I know how you've done that, or I know why where you've got that from. I mean, I'd argue that, this is in my mind where kind of those customers will always exist, right? I only have a 100, 150, 200 pound a month budget because that's all they either want to, or they're on a journey. They're not ready to spend and invest in marketing. They have to go through let me see what it does, right? The try before you buyers and that kind of thing. The ones that go on Google AdWords and will chuck a tenner on a campaign and be like, oh, that worked. Let me up that to 50, and so on and so forth. They still need that expert, because yes, they could go on the AI tool and do it themselves. Just like a business that doesn't always hire, but has a need to hire for a finance assistant, doesn't need to use a recruitment agency. They could just go onto Indeed, post an advert, and do the process. But what they're doing is they're going to an agency for that agency's expertise, right? So you absolutely could take that for £500 a month customer and still use AI, because they're still happy, right? What's their end goal? Their end goal is, I want to post 5 times a week on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, or whatever, and I want the content to be about my market. That's all that's their. That's
so you're saying to treat it like another member of the team, then, right?
Yeah, but yeah. And I think for me, that's the mind shift change that needs to happen within a lot of industries, yours included. Is it's not a you or them. It's you can use this tool that's going to make your job a ton easier and open you out to a market that you're not currently working with, out of restraints of time. Because if I'm saying to you, Nikki, all I've got is £400 a month, you're sitting there immediately thinking, well, you want a lot for £400 a month. Oh, that's a lot of my time, and it's worth more than that.
Yeah.
But your AI license is only costing you what it's costing you, and you can service 15, 20 of me to justify that cost.
Yeah, well, what I like to do is point people in those scenarios, point them towards the AI tools, and they usually loop background because they have a go with it, but then they realise now the content generation isn't the problem. Like, they thought that's what they were trying to fix. Then it's, well, why am I doing it? Like, what am I actually trying to say? Like, what's the point?
I'm not the expert. I'm not the... They still need that marketing mind behind the AI tool.
They need the strategy.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes one hurdle being taken away to realise that now... And I think that's the thing. Creating blogs is so easy now. And we had one client who said, like, I want to do this myself. But then we pointed them towards a couple of tools. They tried doing it and they realised it still takes time. Like, yes, you're not writing an 1,000-word blog, but thinking of the topics, keyword optimizing them, internal linking, publishing. Obviously, AI is supporting that, but they'll try. But then, as I said, inevitably it comes back round to, but what's the overall purpose of this? And I think it's so noisy now that I would argue posting blogs without strategy, posting daily without a purpose is almost as effective as not posting at all.